Come on!
It's 3 o'clock on a cold, wet day in May 2004, and final preparations are underway to welcome home to Brooklands an old friend, Concorde 202, more fondly known as Delta Golf, the last 2 letters in the registration of that aircraft. Working out the transport logistics of this special aircraft from Filton Aerodrome in Bristol to Brooklands has proved difficult. It's decided that if the museum is to get its wish of displaying Concorde, Delta Golf will have to be dismantled and reassembled. Already the outer wings have arrived, together with the wheels, tail fin, tail cone, and a large number of smaller components. Some parts Brooklands has had for some time, including a droop nose cone from Alpha Foxtrot. Today the forward and rear fuselage will be arriving on 2 low-loader lorries. Volunteer Steve Devereaux is making last-minute repairs to the tip of Concorde's nose cone.
This actual nose here is the one that came off of the last Concorde ever built, which is BOAF, Alpha Fox, and that's the one that was damaged at Heathrow in 1995. So the nose off of Delta Golf was taken for use as a spare, put onto that aircraft to keep it flying, and we've got the pieces to repair now to put it onto our aircraft, if you understand me. That's got to be repaired at the front end.
The arrival of Delta Golf is the last Concorde to be delivered to its ultimate destination. BA's Brian Mitchell was part of the team that decided which of the airline's 8 aircraft were to go where.
There was 3 or 4 of us that looked at all the proposals, and then we actually put the proposals up to the board, and it was the board that sort of signed off. We had something like 70 to 80 different letters from all over the world, and we looked at each of those, and then we narrowed it down to about 16, and that's when we got into inviting significant proposals from those people from the 16, and then we narrowed it down to 8, and Brooklands was number 1 of the 8.
Dick Collis used to work on Concorde's rear fuselage and tank at BAC, but today he's turning his attention to the 7-metre nose cone, which will be temporarily placed near Delta Golf when she arrives later.
Just a bit of polishing, cleaning up this front. As you can see, we're making an effort, and it's showing through. What people don't realise, they were always on about how much it cost. But what people didn't understand was what went on in the background with the testing of all the new systems, everything towards, because of the heat situation. And the thing which I explained to people is that everyone knows that the fuselage stretches when it gets very hot, and what they don't realise, where you're sitting in the seat in the aircraft doesn't move. So what happens? The floor is on swinging links. So that stays still, and the fuselage goes backwards and forwards around it. That's a simple, thing that has to be done. But there's a tremendous amount of work in achieving that.
Delta Golf was one of the 20 Concordes built between 1966 and 79 at Brooklands, Filton and Toulouse. She and Aircraft 201 were the first 2 production aircraft and acted as test beds for production techniques, airline training and development work. Neither entered service because the final version, as specified by the airlines, was different, although not in a way that affected handling or performance certification. Test pilot Peter Baker flew Delta Golf on her maiden flight on the 13th of February 1974.
It was a fairly routine first flight, to be honest. One Concorde's much like another, and we'd flown the other 2 quite a lot, so it was another day, another flight. Let's get on with the program, that's all really. I joined the project in 1966, and I stopped it in 1982 when I left what were we then? We were BAE, I think, by that time, or British Aerospace. It was a long, long program, so, it became sort of part of one's life in a way, in a sense. So yes, it was great to say I'm on Concorde, but I was always worried, right up to the point it went to service, that it would never get there, because there's so many people anti, and there was always worries about the financial side. And the longer it got delayed, like all these things, you delay them, it costs money. And that's why Concorde did cost so much. And the fact that two countries did it. And there was inevitably some duplication of work.